To Boston After Dark. We're getting here. I was gonna ask, what do you guys think about like submission to a man? And Abby, what do you think?
Over it.
Okay.
I know. I'm sorry.
In my definition, like submission to a man just means like allowing him to lead in our relationship, and me like learning to be in my femininity and allowing him to be like the leader and like me the follower. And that doesn't mean like a lot of people connotate like submission as being inferior, and I don't believe in that. Like what I see is like he's the head and I'm the neck. So every decision that like we need to make we make together, but essentially at the end he gets the final decision, he makes the final say. So I'll give him my input, this is what I think, this is how I think we should do it, but he makes the final decision. And me personally, I don't want the responsibility, because if it fucks up, I don't want it on me.
You get to blame him.
And I get to blame him essentially. So but as a man, that is what he's supposed to do, and like that is what I look for in a marriage, and that's what I think that submission should be. And a lot of people conflate it with being inferior to a man, and that's not the sense at all. So when he's in his purpose and he's on what he needs to be on, he's on his grind, I can then follow him, and like he's leading us into a path that like I want to be on. Okay, I'm gonna get on your program because I see that you're leading us into the direction that I want to be too. So that's where I'm like leading to. Yeah.
Wait, and Barbara, you since you consider yourself conservative as well, you co-sign that as well?
Absolutely, but I always think to myself, what if he tells me I can't get my nails done? You know what I mean? Like, this is a serious question, but I don't think that that's how God has us set up. You know, when he does pair you, you know, he knows that the man that he's going to have in your life is the man that is going to, you know, adorn the things that, you know, not adore the things that you like to do, and vice versa. But let's go back to submission. I did repeat this before at the beginning. In order for us to even submit to one another, he needs to submit to God first. He needs to submit to God first, because if he can't submit to God and get direction from God, then I can't follow his lead. And you know, being a Christian and a believer, God's way is the perfect plan. So if I'm taking his lead, you best believe I'm going to go with that, because God's plan is the best plan.
I'll take it to a different point, because he's not religious, and he's more spiritual in the sense that he believes that you know, what is it that you believe
crystals?
in? Like Buddhism, like you know, like no, it's he believes in, like, you know, what you were saying earlier, like there's a source, like there's a higher being, but he's not like in that aspect like religious or like faithful. So yes, yeah. So no, I wouldn't say agnostic, that he doesn't. Yeah, because he believes in the source, but he doesn't. Okay. He doesn't call it God. And so when I say like he needs to be on his purpose, it's in my definition, it would be like himself, his purpose, and then me. Like that's how I would tell him to like put me, because I don't want to be put on a pedestal. Because if he's not on his game, on his grind, then he can't be there for me when I need him to be there.
And
co-sign.
Go ahead. You co-sign? I just said. Khadijah, actually, I want to hear your experience, because you said that you were dating a lot of white men and you were like dominating them or whatever it is.
I didn't say that.
Hold on.
That's not what I said.
Khadijah, yo, fix that.
She was wearing a domination suit and she was stepping on the balls.
Don't be putting words in my mouth. Hold on.
Why do you associate white men with kink shit?
Whoa.
First of all,
don't put words in my mouth. Don't put words in my mouth. I did not say
what
that.
She said. She said where she was, she dated predominantly white men. That is all she said.
That's very true.
Oh my God.
Let her finish.
You think black men don't like their balls being stepped on?
I wouldn't know.
Listen, no personal experiences. No personal experiences.
But what
Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Don't be projecting.
What is your experience with submissive in the idea of that?
Don't be projecting, first of all.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let her speak.
Maybe I've seen a girl just step on.
Let it go.
No, but I think that in relationships, whether they be friendships, intimate relationships, romantic relationships, I think having a spiritual foundation is really, really key. for respect, for love, meeting people on a particular level. I think right now, like where we're heading to, like just in the climate of the world, like COVID, inflation, and I think it's really important for us to build communities. And so in that regard, that's why when people talk about like polyamorism and like different types of love, like I see that too, because at the end of the day, like we're cultivating respect, we're cultivating community also. You know what I'm saying? So people who have different relationships, like I may have like a friend, or I may have a husband, or I may have a girlfriend or intimate friend, like you can build communities this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always about like I think just meeting people. When you comes to submission, I think all relationships, we have to like submit on some level. You know what I'm saying? And it's not really about submitting to the man, but it's submitting to something that's higher than thyself. You understand what I'm saying?
That's true. In Sapphire, because I know you said like obviously like you're not in heterosexual relationships, you said.
Yeah.
But like, is that the same thing for like women? Just one like is when people see you like, oh, she wears the pants.
Okay.
She's the masculine one.
Yeah. So it's interesting because for me, my individual experience is that I do carry myself as I think in my relationships, I carry myself as the one that wears the dominance in the relationship. But I don't always want that. I'm looking for partnership where I can be submissive, and I'm only dominating in spaces where I need to dominate.
But you generally have people submit to you? That's what it is?
I think so. And sometimes I don't even fucking know what I'm doing with it. But I'm trying to care for it. I'm trying to work on how to submit to the person, because I am generally a sub. Like, I want someone to just fuck me up, like on some real shit.
Some domestic
like
violence stuff?
No, not at all. But I want to see your strength. I want to see your ability to hold space and be able to feel secure, to hold me when I'm feeling vulnerable and emotional. And then when that shift is necessary, I want to hold space for you. And I want to be able to be masculine and dominant and please that person. And I think like I like seeing someone submit, but I'm still intimidated by it. When I see someone submit to me, I'm like, I've had women call me like masculine rose daddy, things like that, and I'm like, oh no, like I'm a princess. But at the same time, I'm like, yes. Yeah, I'm that nigga too. Like I'm figuring that out. So I think like I'm finding balance. But I want to emphasize a little bit, because I feel like this conversation has been very heterosexually led around like submitting to a man and a man. But I think men need to learn how to submit to themselves, and not even submit, surrender. Surrender certain false beliefs.
Purpose.
Surrender to your purpose as in your identity. I'm a little lit right now because I added the mahord. And I see that in women. I also have dated trans men, and I can see their manhood, and like to see them surrender to me, to surrender to themselves, surrender to pleasure. I'm just like, wow, like I'm honored by that, and I'm still learning how to maintain a sacredness that I could choose to do that with men, but I'm not interested. I love that for men, and I hold space for men who want that with women and want to feel feminine. I hold space for men who just talk about showing their nurture side and being in a world where they can't even show that as much because it's so programmed not to be able to deliver that persona. And so then it's like, it's just exhausting for me. So I'd rather see a woman who's so masculine in the streets and also so feminine in the sheets, that I want to be able to see that men can have that too. I want everybody in between, all identities, to feel like they can surrender to joy and surrender to pleasure.
Can I just say that I just want to see more men doing the healing work.
Yes.
Because right now I see a lot of women coming together and talking about their stuff and doing shadow work and doing emotional work and breaking down stuff. And I feel, what I don't see men doing enough of this. And I wish
I don't
that.
think that we give them a space to allow them to work on themselves.
In what ways do you see that? In what ways do you see that?
Well, because every single time that we call somebody like masculine, we say as women, we want a masculine man, and that means like someone who's like providing and protecting, right? But then in the same breath, it's like, okay, where am I going with this?
You ever seen Messi cry?
Huh?
You ever seen Messi cry?
Once ever. And that
Only
was
get one.
it was because it was very like a very sensitive topic where there was like almost a death in the family. And so I understand like where people have like see like men needs to be more like, you know, emotionally intelligent, all this that, and the third. I understand it, and I think that men need to be given the spaces for in order to do that. I think everybody needs therapy personally. Like everybody needs to go like heal themselves first before they put themselves into like a situation. But I also think that a lot of when you say like, okay, like, yeah, we want someone to be masculine, we want a man to be masculine, we call them out and then call it like toxic masculinity when it's just a man trying to be in his masculinity, right? So where do you draw the line between toxic masculinity and then being just in a strong masculine man? Because everything that the feminism movement is preaching is that everything that a man is doing is just toxic. And just labeling it as toxic when it's just a man just trying to be himself.
And let me ask you this question. So when it comes to like masculinity and separating that from toxic masculinity, like what are the traits that they have similar, and what are the traits that you say would like that is like masculinity that you want in versus like the toxic masculinity thing?
Honestly, just toxic masculinity just doesn't exist, bro. It's just about like let's keep it a buck.
Women have toxic masculinity.
Let me finish my sentence. I'll finish. Yeah, no. Women have. Listen, it's either you're toxic or you're not, bro. It has nothing to do with masculinity or femininity.
Behaviors.
When somebody's toxic, I'm gonna call them toxic. I'm not gonna say, well, that's toxic femininity or that's toxic. Like it's like you're an asshole. You're an asshole.
Right.
If you're a dickhead, if you're a girl or boy, you're a dickhead.
Like people just have
You're a
toxic
jerk,
behaviors.
yeah.
Like people
It's
have
toxic.
toxic. Yeah.
Can I just say?
And because I'm a man and I like have this like dominance in me, and if I use it to my advantage, is that toxic? Like, like.
But I would argue
it's
that
my power. Just like women use their femininity to their advantage.
There we go. I mean,
So you
like, I
can't
would
use
say
your
that it's in the
femininity or
energy.
masculinity for any advantages. That's what you're saying. Okay.
No, but I would say that it's in the energy. Like toxic femininity, I would say between a man or a woman,
Yeah.
toxic femininity is the energy of self-victimization, where toxic masculinity would be in the sense of domination and conquering.
what guys do.
I don't think it applies to exactly men or women. I just think that it's in the energy of the exchange.
But you're saying exactly what men do and women do.
I also. In the energy. I'm saying,
But yeah, and how you exert that, right?
yeah, and I would
So
say that
you-
it's more
So toxic.
okay.
It's
in
either
men.
What? How
So,
is it
like,
okay?
I would say that conquering and war and fighting, that's more
This is
celebrated in men.
that's how we live.
Whereas when women do that,
This is-
it's considered, you know, oh, she wants to be like a man. She wants to be like us. You know, she's
yeah.
too emotional to be able to.
No, I get it. I get it.
And she's too emotional to be in that energy.
I get
Where
it.
if a man expresses where he may be a lie victim in certain aspects, I'm not to say that he's not. Like, men aren't capable of being victim to certain shit.
Right.
But just that if a man expresses his victimhood, then it would be like a toxic feminine trait where you're being a woman about things.
And we call
Man
them
up.
Well, because
Like,
you want a leader. Leaders are like they have feelings too. Like we get it. But if we
I
exert
would
our
say that's more
feelings
patriarchy.
but if we exert our feelings more, women get repulsed by it because they need a form of protection, and protection doesn't come with weakness. So when you're being vulnerable all the time, especially to your woman, in a certain point in time, she's gonna see you in a certain light, and therefore she's gonna lose respect for you because therefore she's losing the feeling of protection if you're vulnerable with her all the time.
But-
Go ahead.
Wouldn't you argue that that just means that she's putting you in that pedestal of masculinity?
I'm a
that
leader.
You're not able
I'm a
to-
natural born
But
leader.
are you able to feel safe to always express yourself when you want
I
to
just
express
want to put
yourself?
in a phrase.
That's fine and everything, but like it's not a natural characteristic for men to be vulnerable. Because
But would you? Is
And
that
we can be
naturally
vulnerable.
in them-
We can
in
be
their
vulnerable.
gender? Like,
But yeah, with other men.
scientifically,
No,
or
no,
is
listen.
that
We
actually-
could be vulnerable. Men can be vulnerable. The problem with what women want is they want men to be vulnerable with them. We do not need to be vulnerable with women. If anything, that shows signs of weakness, and it makes you look at us differently. I show vulnerability. I show vulnerability with the men I hang around with.
But why do you feel that's a weakness between men and women?
And finish your thought, and then let's get Ashley.
Yes. I'll because in my perspective, it's repulsive to me if he's over here like being really emotional. I'm already the emotional one in this relationship. We can't both be emotional. I need him because
I'm gonna swing it to you right after. I promise. I'm gonna swing it to you right after. I promise.
When the Robert comes in, I'm like, babe, you need to go downstairs. I'm scared.
But that's the most like dramatic version of what it would be considered.
I understand that. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is like we can't we can't make decisions like good decisions if we're both emotional. Like no good decision has come out of being both emotional. So I need someone who's strong in his presence to hold me down. And if he's not listen, exactly what she's saying, but this is the reason why if you need to make a lot of money, becomes really successful, what do you need? Masculine traits. You can't be feminine and be winning.
But isn't that because of how
I'm saying? Like, I'm not. Listen. I'm talking about financially and providing and stuff like this. Going to war, you cannot be
financial aspect right now. Women
and that's a false
running.
Narrative.
It's not a false narrative. It's a statistical fact.
Okay, all the billionaires in the United top 10 billionaires in the United States, correct?
But
and
even
all
just
the women
going
that
off
are
of what
on
you're
that
saying.
are what?
Just
They've
going
been passed down money or
Forget the
divorcees.
billionaires.
That's what I'm just
Going
saying.
off of what you're saying, wouldn't you say that this is because of like society's treatment of women and how they view women in the workplace and how they treat women in the workplace? Because I've been in a ton of situations where I've seen the woman doing the work, I've seen them doing exactly what they need to do, but it's the man that's right directly above them that gets the accolades for like the way things are running. And it's not because of she's not doing the work as a woman, it's he's automatically seen in that light in that role as a man.
Illegal. That's just a lot of. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know you
Yeah,
want
sorry.
to talk, but Sapphire. Let's go.
Go ahead.
I just feel like, I want to let you get it. I just want to throw in phrases like wounded masculinity, wounded femininity, wounded areas of our identities. I feel like no matter whatever structure, whatever preference you want in your relationship, if you're wounded or if your parts of yourself are wounded, you're not going to be able to receive and celebrate those parts that you're seeking. So,
Get there, be real before you get into a relationship.
Which I actually can't stand that because I like to heal with my partner. I'd like to do therapy with my partner. I like to explore healing practices with my partners, but they tend to leave and say, I can't do this. I'm not worthy, X, Y, and Z because of their own self-sabotage and their own processes. And because of my own way of being unable to manage emotional safety and emotional expression. I own that. I'm working on that. That's my process. At the same time, I feel like you can do that with another person. You can do that on your own, but you have to want to heal your wounds area. You have to want to identify something greater than those trauma impacted places in your identities so that you can serve yourself and to your partner in a way that brings you to those experiences, long-lasting relationships. And I'm seeking that. I'm praying that the work that I'm doing on my own is simultaneous with the people around me, because I feel like I can't do this alone. I need community. I need people around me to give me examples of parts of me that I'm like, I'm good, I don't need to worry about that, and parts of me that is like, damn, I got a lot to work on, and I need to reflect, and I need to take space and do my radical self-love, radical self-care. And so I just want to name on those wounds, because we're trying to explain definitions of things that have such deep wounds in them. The manhood, the womanhood, the in-between, all of that. There's so much trauma and wounds and abuse because we're still learning our own body language, our own communication through our bodies, and we're so in our right to express them.
But I don't think I don't think there's been a problem between men and women for all thousands of years. It's like this is a problem now.
No.
This man.
No. Like, we got all the way to here. We got all we have made it all the way to 2022 with traditional values and then all of a sudden now it's been a problem.
It's been a problem. It's been a problem since the beginning of time. And what people don't understand and realize is when it comes down to it, women have had to be the emotional and mental and psychological punching bag of a lot of men forever. So Uncle Earl that was sitting here doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do with Bertha sat there and took it because there was nothing else she could do. There was no other resources for Bertha. She couldn't leave the home and go get a job and take care of her kids. She couldn't create a business and run it on her own back then. We can do that now. We can say, you know what, I'm not going to continue to be your emotional and psychological punching bag.
Yes.
You got to go. And when we talk about trauma bonding and things like that, or wanting to heal together, what a lot of people also still don't realize because of this generation, and we take words and make it work for our narrative, healing is an everlasting thing. It's never going to end. The only time healing ends is when our human form dies. That's it. That's it. And there's still spiritual healing that we would have to do on the other realm, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Okay, listen.
But healing is an ongoing everyday process. And I think what a lot of people what I think a lot of people feel is, and this is my opinion, is a lot of men think that women want a man that's going to come fully healed. No, we just want y'all to come here in a place of understanding that healing is necessary and that we're not your therapist. Even if you are damaged, what are you doing to heal to start the healing process of your damaged issues? I'm expecting for anybody on this realm to come with some type of damage, to come a little bit broken, a little scarred, a little scratched. You know what I'm saying? Wow. We don't go to Hyundai on Route 1 and just buy a 2022. Hold on, because niggas love analogies. Yeah. We don't go to Hyundai on Route 1 and get a 2022 vehicle straight from the factory. A lot of us, when we get our first cars, we get the damaged car.
But you get it on loan that most people can't afford.
Not all the time, because if you can afford it, all four of my cars was paid from cash.
No, you're paying more than what you spent.
It might come with a scratch.
Cash too.
It might come with a scratch. It might come with a dent, but it's gonna get me where I needed to get me. And as long as I do the work to keep it up to par inside, that's the most important. The outside is not that. It's important, but it's not as important as the work on the inside. Yeah. As long as the inside is working full throttle, it's going to get me where I needed to go. It's the same way as healing. We think, a lot of y'all think that we need y'all to just be here 100% healed. That's impossible. That's never going to happen.
I don't think that that's the case. I don't think I don't think anyone's saying that. I don't think anyone actually believes that. I think a lot of people do carry their own traumas. Like, I carry my own trauma, but I'm healing from it. I've gone to therapy and I'm continuing to do the work.
But you also just said that if he's crying, you also said if he's crying all the time, that's not good enough for you, because knock it off. It's not good enough. It's not good enough because you, and this is my observation from what you said, you as the woman, you should automatically be the most emotional person in the relationship. So no, hold on. I said this is my opinion from what I heard. What she said, meaning to me from what I heard, is you can't have every moment of vulnerability because we're not able to move forward because you're too vulnerable. if you are too vulnerable,
And
because
you gotta
she
take
is
it to the
entitled to all of the vulnerability because she is a woman. Whereas as a human being in general, this is my observation. Everybody's telling me no, and I'm just like, this is my observation.
This was
No,
well said.
absolutely. You can say what you're saying, but saying no is telling me I'm wrong.
I mean, you talk about my
Saying I'm not talking
That's
about your
what you
experience. I'm
mean.
saying I'm
That she's
speaking
just
on what
repeating.
she said. When she said that I don't want a man who's extra vulnerable, because how are we going to maneuver in situations where somebody needs to make an executive decision? She's expecting the man to make the executive decision for her to follow behind.
Yeah.
But that
If-
doesn't go without.
Abigail, let's
Yeah.
get you to respond, and then I want to see what Kira has to say.
Yes. That doesn't go without not having any type of communication with him. I'm not saying that he can't be completely vulnerable. I'm telling him he cannot be like, I cannot see any sign of, in my opinion, weakness from him, because he needs to be the middle ground. And women are naturally just more emotional. It's biological in us. So when I say, I'm not saying that I'm coming in as the more emotional person. It's just because I'm the woman in this relationship. It's a heterosexual relationship, and I already know myself that I am the emotional being. So he can't be the one that's all constantly talking about his feelings.
That's what I said.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he shouldn't heal from his trauma and that he shouldn't do that. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that he needs to talk that through with other people in his life who he deems as his mentors. He can talk it up with them. It's not my place to be his therapist.
Absolutely, I 1000% agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it's also naming.
But also at the same time, like, you're over here like he can't be vulnerable ever, right?
Didn't say that.
No, that's all. She's
That's
just
what. That's my
repeating.
perception. That's my perception right now.
No,
But-
my perception was her saying he can't have those vulnerable moments. He can't have those vulnerable moments on a consistent basis.
But he can. He can.
I said that that's my interpretation for what she said. I didn't say that that's what he can't do.
Yeah.
No, right, but I'm saying is like he can. It's just not with her. It's with his friends, the people that he looks up to, and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, he's leading their relationship. And
So it
she like
sounds
so
like-
for him to like go to her for like help and whatever. That's asking for her leadership, which is not her place.
Because she's not choosing to.
But
I-
what can
it
I
really-
just one question? Do you believe that most men look at their woman as their therapist before they go and reach out to an actual person
Yes.
that's supposed to help them?
Yes.
Most
Yes and yes.
Because most
and
men
yes.
look for their woman to give them the emotional answer or the psychological answer beyond it's indoctrined in a lot of men, especially black men, especially urban men, to say, I'm not going to see a therapist because that's white people shit.
I understand that.
It's also not our place.
That's black people in general, but like
That's
Um,
what
yeah.
urban
feel
black and
like
urban.
For y'all,
Like
I
my
feel
man.
like y'all have like like an idea that you're working with, and it works for y'all.
Right.
And I think that's great, and it's valid.
But
Because
generally
if it works
speaking-
for you guys, then that's great. But you're also
Generally
here.
speaking, most men don't
to-
see therapy.
No,
Right.
generally speaking, most men shouldn't be vulnerable with their woman.
This man.
But can I ask
But I'm
if
saying,
that's
but we're all
this
saying,
man.
but we're all saying what? But we all saying what? But
No.
most men, what? They not
It's
respect
true.
it.
It's true.
They not
Hold on.
respect it, bro.
But let me ask
Because
you
you're in a
something.
relationship
It's
that
true.
you're not respecting it.
But
Because
wait,
women
because they
settle
say-
the most, right?
Because they
because
also say like the good way to lose like a good woman is to tell her about your problems.
Okay,
Yeah,
but let
bro,
me
like,
ask
come
you
on, let's keep
something
it a
again.
stat.
Is that in the
keep it a
expectation
stat.
of what men are supposed to be, or is that on women? Is that in what you were taught a man is, or is that on us and how we see masculinity? I'm not telling a man not to be vulnerable with me. Personally, I want every person to feel safe being vulnerable with me.
Do you want a
But
broke man
if
that
it-
cries all the time?
I never said broke or
I'm
cries
just
all the
saying.
time. I said
But
feeling
this is
safe.
what
being-
women are
No, no,
repulsed
no, no,
by.
no, but let me
Vulnerable
ask
men
you,
and
do you-
broke men.
But do you feel safe being vulnerable as a man because you're a woman, or because women in general, or is that because what you were taught from other men is not acceptable as
I
a
was
man?
raised
I
with
wanna
a
let you
mother
know-
only and
But you
3
said that-
sisters that
I
are
just
older
wanna
than
say
me.
something.
But you
I think
said-
I understand vulnerability with women.
No, but you said that you had masculine figures around you, yes?
Of course, yeah, my
So
boys, the
based
people
off
that I
of
keep.
those men that were around you,
did they teach you that it was unacceptable to be
me? That's who I invest my money in. That's the reason why I went back to school, to continue to educate and to grow and to rebuild a community that has been broken for hundreds of years. I can't do it by myself, but I'm the start. It's possible. And everybody likes to fucking bring up solicitation, all the shit, and that a lot of people are doing this selfishly. Some people are. Some people are. Some people aren't. And why you might say most, because most women, as we forget that men are also in fucking sex work, as
They broke too.
equally,
Really?
equally.
They broke.
Equally.
I'm sorry.
Now, there's men. It's just not more than women.
You have to build in order to give. And if we can't get certain jobs without a degree, then we have to work, and in this country, amongst other countries where people can go to college for free and get a degree, in this country, we have to pay thousands or $250,000 just to get a degree to be able to help our community. And a lot of people might take that as a selfish act. But at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, when we pay that tuition and we get that degree and we're sitting here and talking to this person for therapy and that person, and we're seeing 20 people a day for therapy, and we are diluting ourselves and burning ourselves out for the sake of healing and building for the outside people, that is still giving back to the community. And these people that are strippers, who I know a plethora of strippers who strip at the club to pay for the tuition,
So they can stop stripping.
Not to stop stripping, but to elevate their community, to give back to their community.
So are we? So listen. All right. Listen. I don't care what you do. If anything, do what you want to do, and you know it too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and how you get it, you get it. Do you think though, giving advice about your profession to other women is better for them or not?
Corey, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I just want to say that right now, women are the fastest rising group of entrepreneurs.
Black women especially.
Women get money.
Black women
especially.
Black women especially.
So
women get money out here. So I from what I heard, the assertion was that it was like either women stay at home or women work 9 to 5.
No, I'm saying they have that.
But
They
I'm
have
like,
the
hold
choice.
on, but women
It's not
are
supposed to be
making money
fair.
out here. So how is that like?
Speak to the mic.
How is that? So how is that like? Women are making money.
Yeah.
So the assertion that it's either a woman works a 9 to 5 and a dead end job like Dollar Tree or like the other stores that he was saying, I was like, what?
No, I said people in general, and then I gave the example of women working jobs, dead end jobs.
That's such a huge spectrum between Dollar Tree and somebody paying for your whole entire living situation. Women are making money out here. Women are entrepreneurs.
And women are hypergamy, meaning that if she makes $100,000, she want a man that only makes $100,000 or more.
That's not true.
That's a majority of
true.
women.
Absolutely, positively not
That's
true.
not true.
Because y'all be
Women
sitting,
taking care of
y'all be
these
sitting
men.
on our
Wait,
couches
so
with
taking
no
care of these
fucking
men.
job.
Y'all telling me that y'all would date y'all would
It's
date
not about
Let
what
me
we
let
would
me
do.
let me
It's
explain
about
something.
what's happening.
Hold on. Let me just make this
is that when
statement.
personality
Let me
kicks in?
let me make this statement. Within the African American household, because we didn't have men in our families. Yes, because I already know I feel like you're gonna say this. Yes, government had a major part. I already know. Yes, government had a major part of the dismantlement within the black household. Absolutely, but we know that now. And we are a couple decades in to where we can change that narrative, and we choose not to. So let me just make that point. We choose not to change that narrative. We still hold on to the crutch of, oh, the white man destroyed Black Wall Street, and now black men can't be what the fuck they need to be. No, we know this now. And we have resources to change that narrative, and we don't change that narrative. However, black women because the men were not in the home, and we are still to this day trying to rebuild that. Black women, African American women, are prone to settling for less, whereas, and you can over here, that's perfectly fine, but whereas other cultural women, white women, Asian women, Spanish women,
African
women,
American, yeah.
African,
Yep.
because black, and that's why I emphasize on black.
Americans.
Black American.
Yeah,
that's
true.
why I
That's
emphasize
way
on
more
black
accurate.
American.
Yeah.
African women, they were always taught that they, or not even just taught, but they were not being given to any man who ain't got shit. Black American women were taught to settle for the less of what's given to them. So Black American women are taught to say, oh, he's got ambition and drive. He's got
every
ambition
woman.
and drive. So let me be with him because he's got ambition and drive. And we sit here for 5, 10, 15 years, Chrissy.
Choice.
15 years of the possibility.
That's your choice.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But not only is it a choice, it is also still something that's indoctrinated in us that we as women, as black women in America,
To look for
have to heal from. It's but the problem that I see is while we're trying to heal from that, while we're trying to break away from that, now we're gold diggers. Now we
This is why men need to vet the guys that y'all talk to.
No,
But it's always broke ass men who are worried about gold diggers, and I wonder why. You never hear a
Right.
rich man worried about gold diggers. I just want to put that
Right.
out there. It's always a broke ass man that's like, oh, she's a gold digger. Oh, like you don't have no money.
Yeah,
So why you
facts.
worried?
you
about
don't
a
have no
gold
money.
digger? Never.
Before we get to that,
Go ahead.
So basically what I was getting into was, again, just in the individual and the choice. And a lot of what we've been saying has been very general and saying,
it
oh,
should
this
be
is
that
how
way.
women are in general. But again, you're speaking off of what women you know. The women that
not.
I
I said-
know. So you say women in general, but every woman that I know, that's not everything that you're naming. You're saying
Majority
this
of
is what women
consumer
in general
debt
are.
is owned by women. Women
What-
initiate 70 to 80% of all divorces. They break their own homes.
Why?
Okay, look,
Yeah, 'cause
exactly.
I'm broke.
Why?
Exactly.
Because what percentage of that is abuse?
Financial.
What percentage of that
Oh
is
my God.
abuse?
You know the top 3? Do you know the top 3? Or do you know the top 2?
it?
Do you know
Is
the
that what you
top?
believe?
It's not statistics. What's the top 2?
Because I was.
It's
looking up shit,
infidelity and what? Finances. And who's leaving a relationship over finances? Women. Women are not equipped to take care of a man long term. That's why I could be like, yo, listen, you want to be a stay-at-home mom? Cool.
But
I'll
what
take care of
part
you
of
for the rest of your fucking
finances?
life. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life.
what
If
part
I
of
said that to Abby,
finances?
that like, yo, listen, I'm trying to be a stay.
Longer than men, though.
Can I just let me finish? I'll get to you. Yeah, I'll get you. Listen,
I
and,
just want to know what part
and
of
women,
finances.
but women
Because if
on
you're
the-
not
on
going
the
to work,
finish-
Because you got a certain mindset. Nah, because you know what?
I can't finish.
Nah.
Bro, like
Nah.
I've been patient. I've been patient.
You've been patient,
you
but you've
have-
been taking up mad space, bro. And you've been taking up space with certain beliefs that's indoctrinated. So I feel like even if you feel like you're not saying enough or you're saying what you need
We
to
do.
say, you're still
We
saying
do.
too much in your own
'Cause you don't have
way
to live that.
Because it's
toxic, right?
borderline toxic.
I'm controlling
because
and toxic.
there's
Yeah,
a
yeah, I
point
get it.
where you're trying to control a certain narrative, and that's where
controlling my
I'm just
narrative.
listening. But I'm also like wondering, like, yo, sis, like, how do you manage your identity in this relationship? How
see,
do you
you-
manage your
let
your
her
purpose
But why
in
does
your
it?
world?
Right, but why?
with this
But why does
person
it come to
on your
from me
own?
on my time?
I want to finish my thought because I've been real quiet and listening because I really want to like learn, but I'm struggling to learn from something that sounds like it's just continuously programmed based off of you saying these definitive statements versus women's individual experiences.
And she'll explain to you right now.
And like, yes, I want to hear from you, but I also want to hear from you as an individual and not as a practice between y'all's relationship.
And this is what you
I
think.
am an individual. But I know.
Minor, quick second. Minor. And I just want to say to you, because I want everybody, because I know it's going to show up on camera that I made that interaction with you, and I just want to say it out loud. When you said y'all love that word, we do, because we're the demographic that has to deal with that. We're the demographic that has to live the indoctrined life, and we're the ones that have to heal from that, regardless of what your cultural background is and how you're able to move forward and live your life. We're still to this day in 2022 trying to heal from that shit. So you're absolutely right. We love that word indoctrine because we want to embed that shit in all of y'all heads, that we have to deal with that shit, not you.
I'm black too.
I was talking to her.
I'm just saying. It's just not about skin color. It's about decisions that people
I said
make.
what I said.
I know you said this. You said the skin color. All right, but let her finish. Let her go off of.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of the the comeback that I get is like, oh, you're not your own person. You're not an individual. You think, yeah, no, but this is what I've gotten from other people that I've spoken to, and they're like, oh, you're a pick me. You're a pick me. Like you just wanna, you're just doing this because you want this certain type of lifestyle, this certain outcome out of your life. Yeah, I do. I do want that. So what? But why does it? If I say I wanted to be a housewife or I wanted to be a homemaker, that now those abilities and like all of my abilities just all the accolades that I have completely diminishes as soon as I say that. And it's very insulting to me to say that, to like, oh, like you just want to be a housewife? That's all you want to do? And I'm like, no. Why did you think that that's the only thing I'm going to do? You don't think I'm going to have a side hustle? You don't think I'm going to have a side business? Like I'm very like entrepreneurial, like minded, but everyone just constantly reverts to like as that being like the negative part, that I don't have my own identity and that I don't have a say in my relationship. Everything that I'm saying is completely from my own opinion, and like it hasn't been through influence by him. Like I grew up like in a Filipino household where they're Catholic, so it's like I've grew up like believing some of these things that I'm saying. So
traditional values.
I grew up with like very traditional values, and like that's for me, it works for me, and that's what I'm sticking to. But that's a lot of the, like I said, the comeback that I get, or like the reverb that I get. Clap back.
People hate on it like because they can't do it. Yeah, most people wish they'd be in that sort of position.
And they can't comprehend that I think the way that I do, or that I'm being indoctrinated by a man.
Right. So disingenuous.
But can I just say that I feel like a lot of the reason that this conversation has become as angering as it has become is because a lot of this has been in the assumption that all women or all men react in this way. We're not speaking individually enough, and I think that is the problem. I think we keep on tying these, again, because going back to that indoctrinated shit, we're going off of like a system or of belief that was taught to us, that is
Feminism
acceptable.
Is a system of belief.
Well, feminism, misogyny, whichever way you want to frame it.
That's a system of belief. That's indoctrination. That hurts the black community.
Everything that we've been talking about has been based in thoughts that were taught to us. Outside of the things that you've been saying, where have you really dissected all of these thoughts? Where have you really analyzed why things are the way that they are? Why men can't be emotional in certain aspects? Why women get treated the way that they get treated when they do certain things, when they are a certain type of person? Because I'll say, as a person who started sex work when she was 19 and found a lot of liberation, found a way to affirm my boundaries and safety in these unacceptable women, these women who are man haters. I won't say every single one of them. They just go operate off the basis of, fuck these niggas. These niggas ain't shit. I can't stand them. But a lot of them, who I've actually gotten to get to know, they do want to submit. But the problem is in the safety of submission. And that's the problem, is a lot of abuse.
Scared.
And I did look up the statistic of domestic abuse, although it's not the highest.
Because
it is on there as 23.9%. But the problem is in lack of commitment, infidelity, conflict, marrying too young. Money issues doesn't come until like way later, after substance abuse, and there's health problems, right before. But like it's all in safety and choice. And I think a lot of the conversation has been in, oh, well, you can make that choice, but just know no one's going to respect you for it. And
No, I'm
that's
not
where
saying
the
that.
problem's coming
I'm
from,
saying-
because you say in general.
Let me and just to and just to go back on that, you're coming at the next relationship fear, like fear
coming at your
based.
relationship.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
your
I said
relationship
the
works.
next relationship, as in like when women talk how you talk, and they bring that narrative and their experiences onto the next relationship. Now they're fearing that the relationship is going to be abusive. Why put that self in fear? Why put yourself in fear?
Safety.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. You're bringing the first thought of the relationship that you're going to get into is fear-based, when it should be about love, right?
Okay,
And
so
connection.
let's
You should only be feared after they've done it.
Okay, so putting women to the side. I'm speaking
Because
to you
obviously
as a
you
man.
could-
No. I want to speak to you as a man. As a man in masculine spaces with other men, how do y'all go about the conversation of making women feel safe? How do y'all go about that conversation of making sure women don't feel that fear going into another relationship?
Without
How do y'all present yourselves in this world? I don't mean just in your relationship
Provision,
or your
protection, and
friendship,
leadership.
just in general. How do you treat women in your natural life? How do you see women in
general.
your natural life? And
Yeah.
like, let's say
Not
even
the
in
women
work-
that y'all want to protect, not the women that y'all feel deserves protection, just women in general. Because if those women in general, there's a generalization of all kinds of women. And there are more women who are sexually liberated from your own views that y'all won't protect. Whereas when there's those women that y'all feel may not be sexually liberated, or they dress up and cover it from head to toe, those are the women that y'all identify as queens. Those are the women that y'all identify
worthy
as
of respect.
Because
as worthy
women
of respect.
aren't entitled
Whereas
to
if I come
protection.
outside like this,
Women aren't
I
entitled to
gotta
protection.
fight
On your own.
on my own.
Because women aren't entitled to protection.
That's the dumbest shit I've heard in my entire fucking life.
That way or not.
Are people-
hold on.
Explain to me a reason why I have to protect you. Why do I have to
The
protect you?
same reason why if a woman
Why do I have to protect
the
you?
same reason as why most women
See,
and,
who
and
hurt
I
me?
could be and I could be wrong, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I could be wrong. But in a general statement, and what has been seen, what has been televised, with women always being on the front line when shit happens to men, we are there on the front line every time. Y'all stand behind us every time. Okay? So when shit happens to y'all,
I don't know what men
there
you
is
stand
some
behind.
type of woman, whether it's your girlfriend, your wife, your mother, your sister, your
only
girl
women
cousin,
in
your
my
girl
family.
auntie. There is always some type of woman holding y'all down, whether right, wrong, or indifferent. Abuse me or treat me
I'm not saying that's right.
inhumane.
And I would stand
in
up for you
public.
because it's evil.
But
But
that's what we're
if I'm outside,
I don't
but
like evil.
Okay, but if
somebody,
I'm outside,
if a guy that's bigger than
if I'm
a woman,
outside
if
in
they're
a
beating up a
thong,
woman, I'm gonna
if
jump
I'm
in.
outside in a thong and a t-shirt, are you gonna defend me if somebody is doing some fuck shit?
Are you gonna say that I chose to be in that position?
Well, you have to take
That's
some
the
sort of
issue.
accountability
What
first.
is the accountability?
And that's the
Because you
issue.
have no idea. Hold on. Let me. Hold on. I'm not gang. It's not a gang up. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not a gang up.
Wait.
Don't do that.
Hey, no, chill.
No,
You
let her
have no
finish, let her
idea.
finish.
You have no idea what happened prior to that. I could be escaping from somebody's house in the midst of me being sexually assaulted.
Were you?
And if hold on,
Were you?
that's not his choice to. That's not the point. The point is if he saw me outside in a thong and a t-shirt and I'm being assaulted by another man, is he going to stop? And he said. That is a choice that you chose to make. And what I'm saying, I'm not because are you good? But are you?
Whoa.
No, prior to that.
Yes, he did say that women
Because
aren't entitled to protection. Yes, but at the end of the day,
said
like in
all
human
women are
decency,
not entitled to
I think in
protection. That's
human
what he said.
decency, any person would protect somebody in some.
That's
in
not
that
true.
stance.
But that's
Like-
not true.
Because we're hearing the standards
But
of
that's not
protection
true.
right now.
Most women die at the hands of
Why
men
would
that
I?
claim they
because
love
that's
them.
multiple men.
Wait, one
That's
at a
multiple-
time.
Said,
One at a
listen, I
time,
will protect it because
please.
it's evil. When I see a stronger man hurting a weaker vessel, I'm gonna. It's my innate, what's it called? Reaction.
Okay, and I asked you,
Especially
if I
as
was
a good
outside,
person, to defend somebody is getting beat up or weaker. Like,
So let's say you don't
But
see
I-
all
you-
this.
but you
But
guys
I
don't
asked
believe
you-
that because of the way I conduct myself here.
But I asked
that's
you
the problem.
if I was outside in a thong and a t-shirt, arguing and fighting off a man.
You're
you
arguing
said to
and-
me.
oh, okay.
You said these are your words. You said that is a choice that you decided to make, and I said to
give it
you.
him. No, give it him because he's
And
gonna.
and I said to you, well, how do you know what happened prior to what you saw?
But I mean, he
And this is why I
But he
come,
literally
but
said-
this is why I say
Yeah.
that women in general, there's always a stipulation on the type of women that men protect in general.
Mm-hmm.
If I have, and this is a fuck my fart. This is an actual situation that has happened,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that a lot of women are able to relate to.
yeah.
I have walked up and down the street, the same street, for 12 years on Wells Ave. Up and down the street. I'm the type of woman that wears whatever the fuck she wants to wear. I don't care how hot or how cold. I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. If I got skin showing, it's gonna show. If it's not gonna show, it's not gonna show. The same men have seen me walk up and down that street for 12 years, and in any case in point where other people, men and women, have abused me or felt like they needed to assert whatever dominance that they needed to, where I've had to defend myself, those men did not come to my aid. Okay? When I got pregnant with my son and I worked on the hair salon that was on Wells Ave,
Yeah.
and I went outside to get some air, and I walked up and down the street, and I was 7-8 months pregnant, not my son, my daughter, 7-8 months pregnant with a dashiki on and a motherfucking head wrap. Those same men, when I was being attacked by somebody, those same men came to my aid. Those
Yeah.
same men came to my aid. But why did they come to my aid? Because of the way that I was dressed, because I was a pregnant woman and they felt that I couldn't defend myself. But I guarantee you, if I was outside pregnant with a tube top and short shorts, they still wouldn't have come to my aid. Why? Because they automatically assume that I have no respect for myself. And y'all only grasp, a lot of people only grasp respect based on their article of clothing, which is why I'm asking you the questions that I'm asking you.
Yeah. But
Can I say something really quick to that?
but before we get into that, I completely understand. I think there's a lot of people that do fuck up when they don't help out someone they see that's in need. He definitely said that if he sees an injustice, he's gonna take action. That's
Which is why I asked.
which you know what I
Which is
mean.
why
All we
I
can do,
asked.
all we can
Which
do is take
why I
take the
asked,
word for
does
it.
it count based on your visual point of
Well,
view?
what he said-
And he said.
Well, what he
Sorry.
well,
Go ahead. Can I?
well, what he said was.
Hold on. One
Well,
second.
let me just finish. Because what he said was that if he sees an injustice, he can take action. He said women aren't entitled to protection, which is like no one's really entitled to protection. But if you're a good citizen, you're a good Samaritan, you protect somebody that you see injustice happening to.
Right.
So I completely understand that. You know what I mean? But no one's entitled to that. Like I'm not entitled to if I see a robbery happening, I'm not entitled to me coming there and being your Superman.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I would do it if it made sense.
Right.
So I understand that situation.
Right.
Go
I
ahead.
want to speak to a couple of things. One, I want to speak to you said something about just in general and like men's duty and as a man and these generalizations. If you take on that perspective, right? That I'm like, these very traditional patriarchal perspectives. If you take on that role, then you should protect women no matter what they look like all of these things, right? No matter what they're wearing.
Didn't I say that?
Hold on. I agree. Nobody is entitled to it. Nobody's entitled to really execute a particular duty, right? That story that you said when you were walking up and down Wells Ave and the men saw you walking up and down the street with a thong. I remember when my mom said that she wanted to, because I grew up Muslim as well, and you know I used to wear the hijab and everything.
Nice.
When my mom became Muslim, she said that before she was like covering and wearing a hijab, and when she was on her way to converting to Islam, right? But I just want to speak to that experience. I just want to speak to that experience of the sister walking down the street with covering on her daishiki versus she's walking down the street with her thong on. There is an art to protecting yourself with modesty. Modesty can serve as a protection. I had a homegirl who was a sex worker, and when she got out of work, she would put more clothes on to protect herself because she had to catch the bus or she had to catch a taxi. So she would come out of work, and you know what I'm saying? And you know, she was doing her thing, making her money, whatever, cool. But when she came out of work, she would put more clothes on because that protected her. So there is something about kind of like this kind of psychology with men, and when they see you with clothes on, I'm gonna protect that because it looks sacred, and you know what I mean. So I understand the art of that, but like I said, I do want to note that it doesn't matter what a woman is wearing, because there's baby girls out here, and I have a daughter, and I know that people do horrible things to women, to little girls, to vulnerable people.
Yeah.